questions about killer whales each and every day from kids and grown-ups of all ages. So we've gathered those questions and put them all together right here in this Killer Whales Up Close book to share with you today. And we've connected the book so that you can see everything up on the big screen. So if you're ready to get started, it is my privilege to introduce you to Connor.
Hi everyone, welcome to Shamu Stadium. You ready to see Killer Whales Up Close? Alright, well it's my pleasure to introduce you to our oldest and largest female. Here on this side of the pool, let's say hello to Corky. Next up, we have a young male who's 32 years old, who weighs just under 6 pounds. He intends to be our nuclear whale. Everyone say hello to Ikaika. Down here at SeaWorld San Diego, we have a working killer whale. We have 5 males, 6 females. Very extreme of young Maya, who's a year and a half, all the way up to 52 years old. And their sizes are about 1,100 pounds, all the way up to Ulysses, who's almost 10,000 pounds.
You can see just how different each whale is, but did you know that there are even bigger differences in the wild? Would you be surprised if I told you that there are actually different kinds of killer whales? Scientists refer to them as ecotypes. They live in different habitats, they have different body types, and they even pursue different kinds of food. But even though killer whale ecotypes are all different, they're still considered members of just one species, Orcinus orca. One of the questions that we get asked all the time is, how big does a killer whale grow to be? Well, it depends on which ecotype you're talking about. It could be a 16-foot female in Iceland or a 30-foot male in Antarctica. Let's take a closer look.
Is that they are found throughout the ocean, from the Arctic to the Antarctic, and literally everywhere in between. They are found in so many different habitats and depend on such a variety of marine life for survival that killer whales are more intertwined with the fate of our ocean than any other marine animal. Truly, these awesome animals are the living symbol of our ocean, representing so much more than our own species.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it again for our killer whales. All right, it's time to check out some of these great questions. Oh, here we go. So many of you wonder about our trainers. In fact, raise your hand if any of you have ever wanted to be an animal trainer. Wow, that's a lot. Then you should meet our dedicated team of trainers who interact with our family of whales here every day.
Joining me up here on stage, we have Michelle and Corky. We have Mike behind us right now, and we also have Amber with Ikaika.
These professionals are so passionate about what they do here every single day. And that leads me to another one of these questions. Do the trainers talk to the whales? I'll let you answer that one, Connor.
That is a good question. No, we don't talk to the whales like you and I talk to each other, but we have taught the killer whales different hand signals, which helps us to communicate with them. This ongoing communication is an important part of building the strong relationships we have with these animals. And because of these strong bonds, one of the things we're able to do is answer important questions through research.
Here at SeaWorld, we have a unique opportunity to conduct research about killer whales, asking important questions that can only be answered in a setting like this. So much of what we learn here is being used to help killer whales in the wild. Of course, there are other questions that can only be explored by studying whales in the ocean. By exploring questions both at SeaWorld and in the wild, our combined research gives all of us a better understanding of killer whales and the places they live.
And that's what we call working together. Research flowing in both directions, from our park to the wild and back again. This way, everyone benefits. All right, let's check out another question. Perfect. This individual wonders why whales jump. Well, I just happen to have that emoji. Look. You know, killer whales communicate in a lot of different ways. Sometimes they vocalize, and sometimes they use their body. jump like that is called a breeze. They're making a sound on top of the water. When a whale uses their body to slap the surface, they're creating a commotion, both above and below the surface. Now this could be maybe to show a little excitement, to display a little power, or to just get the attention of other whales. Some of you may have heard of Khalees of Maya. In fact, our SeaWorld social media fans actually helped us to name her. Here at SeaWorld, we see newborn calves rely on their mothers for everything, from the very first moments of birth.
As a calf grows and gains independence, it is looked after by other whales in the pod too. They help the mother protect the calf, teach it survival skills, and show the calf how to love and play. Killer whales live in family-like groups known as pods. Like human families, their pods can range in size, from just a handful of whales up to a few dozen.
Wow, that's a lot of questions. But believe it or not, we get them here every single day.
We sure do. Killer whales communicate using all different sorts of sounds. Let's listen. Each type of killer whale, each pod, has their own unique sounds, their own dialect. But don't forget, they use body language too.
Sometimes they'll even blow bubbles, or bump into each other, or scratch each other using their teeth, causing what are called break marks. These are the multi-line marks that you may see on the skin of killer whales and dolphins. It's just one of the ways that animals display dominance over one another during social interactions, both in the wild and at SeaWorld. Now you've just seen that killer whales use vocalizations to communicate with each other, but how do we communicate with them? That's right, through signals. Here at SeaWorld, we communicate with our whales, and we want to make sure that the next generation can do the same.
All right, now this is one of our favorite parts of the show where we get to meet two new friends and we get to introduce our killer whales. Everyone give a nice round of applause for Cameron and Elise. Now it looks like they're going to meet a couple of our whales. You see Liz is over there with Cameron. He's going to hang out with Corky. And Elise is going to meet Ikaika over there with him. So let's see what Ikaika is going to do. Looks like he's going to wave below. And it looks like Corky's going to... Uh-oh. Good thing it's a fun day. Wow. And it looks like Ikaika's getting some nice ice creams over there from Elise. And it looks like they're going to shake it out. What's Corky up to? Let's see. Looks like she's going to go all the way down to the bottom of the pool. See that tool that we use here, that target pole, which just gave Corky a place to jump. All right. Well, to help you guys remember your time here, other than that big splash over there, Cameron, we do have these whale tail necklaces to give you guys to help you remember the whales and your experience here at SeaWorld. All right. Let's give a big round of applause.
Here's another great question. Who takes care of you, Shamu? I love this question because it lets us give you a peek into how much we care about these extraordinary animals. All right, Connor, the trainer's ready?
We are. Now, the training you're about to see is actually how we take care of the animals. When the animals learn to offer up their tail flukes or those two large fins at the bottom of their body, we can actually draw blood. The animals are conditioned to nice and relaxed, just lay on their back there and position their tail flukes in their laps. So that way our veterinarian staff can come out and be able to take the blood sample. Now the slide out behaviors that you see are very impressive show behaviors, but this is actually how we weigh the animals. We weigh the whales once a week, to make sure that the calves are growing properly and that animals are getting enough food. Now the high energy behaviors that you see, such as the jumps and the bows, these are behaviors that you'll see animals do here at SeaWorld and in the wild. These behaviors help ensure us that the animals get the exercise they need every single day. So if you look in the center of the pool, you're going to see Corky doing impressive behavior. Here she comes.
Now, Connor, I know that our guests also wonder, how much does a killer whale need to eat in order to stay healthy?
Just like us, every animal has different dietary needs. Now, Ikaika, who's still growing, eats around 130 pounds of fish every single day. Where Corky is much larger than Ikaika, she eats about 170 pounds of fish every single day. Now, it's important to note, the animals get all their food no matter what they do every day.
And because we've been able to determine how much a killer whale eats at different stages throughout their life, researchers in the field are able to use this information to determine if ocean habitats are healthy enough for killer whale populations to thrive. And this kind of information is invaluable.
You know, food, exercise, and physicals from our veterinarians aren't all our animals need. Every animal's well-being is so important to us that we want to make sure that their minds are stimulated too. They need the kind of mental enrichment that comes from learning, interaction, and play. Now, if you focus your attention to this big screen, you can actually see some of the toys that we actually give the animals. We have a fancy name for these. It's known as an environmental enrichment device. So, being so close to Mission Bay, we can actually borrow kelp from the bay. The animals love to play with the kelp. You can also see that we have these toys with these large plastic balls attached to some fire hose. The animals love to share them and kind of play tug of war and bring them around the pool. Now, if you watch Michelle on stage, she's actually playing with Corky over there with some of the toys that we have with the animals. You can see Amber, she's given some ice cubes. There's lots of ways we can reinforce the animals. We play with them, we give them back rubs, we give them ice, we give them fish, we can also give them sugar-free gelatin as well. Now, with all the toys and games that we provide our killer whales, the best interaction and enrichment still seems to be social interaction with other killer whales and our team of experienced trainers.
All right, how about a question for all of our kids out there? They want to know, who would win if a killer whale squared off with a great white shark? How many of you think the great white shark would win? Okay, how many of you think the killer whale would win? That's right, the killer whale. You see, a great white shark hunts alone, while a killer whale hunts in a pod, so it's not even a competition. In fact, killer whales have even been known to hunt blue whales. Do you know how big a blue whale is? At over 80 feet, it is the largest animal to have ever existed on this planet. But killer whales can hunt these animals because they coordinate, collaborate, and cooperate. They work together as a team to overcome challenges much bigger than themselves. You know, I bet we could overcome the challenges that our ocean faces if we collaborated like the killer whales. If we work together, we could change the fate of our ocean and even our world. All right, we're getting some more questions. Oh, these are the common ones that always come in, so here we go. First one, why do some dorsal fins curve? This is a great question. Dorsal fins do not have any skeletal support, such as bones or cartilage, to support their height and weight. They're made up completely of connective tissue. So if an animal spends more time at the surface, it is likely that the connective tissue in their fin will weaken, causing their fin to bend. We occasionally see curved dorsal fins in the wild and at SeaWorld. Next question. How fast can they swim? Well, depending on their body weight, killer whales can swim up to 30 miles per hour. Let's check it out.
చూడండి
Next question. How much water can their tails splash? Well, their tails
సీట్ వరకు నీళ్ళు చూడండి జామ
truly represent more than just themselves. Truly, to better understand the blue whale is to better understand the ocean. So never stop wondering about the whale. Be sure to visit SeaWorldSanDiego.com for your free download of the killer whales up close book and share it with your family and friends.
From all of us to all of you, thank you for coming, thank you for wondering, and thank you for caring. We hope you enjoyed killer whales up close. We hope to see you later today.